Hey team, Coop here from Garage Gym Reviews, and I'm gonna jump right into it. We have an epic review today on one of the most hyped and biggest bench releases for some time. This is the Rogue Manta Ray adjustable bench, Rogue's most premium high-end bench that they make. Rogue has not come out with a lot of benches as of recent. They had a bunch of releases when they first kind of got around. They're not looking to come out with 20 versions of the same bench. They kind of stick to their guns. They want to make it really good with the ones they release, and then they kind of keep it because they follow that model of enduring pieces of equipment. So when they come out with something new within a line, people get really excited. And I was about this one. This is the Manta Ray bench. It's called that specifically because of some of the design implications that they've come out with, but I'm gonna run through this. I'm gonna give my full breakdown, honest review, it's gonna be in some ways brutally honest. You'll just see it throughout the review. I'm gonna compare this to all the benches that I've used, which is pretty much all that are out there, including some of the new releases that have come out that I think compare and compete directly with this one. And also I'm just gonna tell you if you should buy it or not. I'll just give it to you frank. Okay, let's get into it. Now before I do, one thing I gotta say, if you check out the link below the like button, I'll put a link down there where you can purchase the bench. That will allow us to have a commission from Rogue. It doesn't increase the price that you pay, but does allow us to keep buying more benches like this one and review them for you. Okay, I'm gonna start with this. This bench is designed specifically, they don't say this on their site, but this is what I think it is. This bench is designed with stability in mind. It seems like just about every part of this bench is designed so it can be as stable as possible. Now, I do have some thoughts on that and whether it actually meets that desire, but I think just the get where you see this is from the weight. This is 140 pounds. Now, before you freak out, I do wanna give something on this. One thing that we've started to do is actually test the weight using a luggage scale of the front handle of the bench. So when you hear 140 pounds, like I did, it's like, holy crap. I don't wanna warm up to do a clean with my bench every time I use it. Because in home gyms, one of the biggest benefits of these, including this one, is that they have a stand-up feature on the back. This one's coated in UHMW, allows it to stand up. And so you're going, every time I lift that thing up to put it away, I'm gonna have to clean 140 pounds. So what we did was we took a luggage scale, attached it to a handle, and then attached it to the front foot, and then lifted it up, basically whatever would be the heaviest point, which is right off the ground. This is actually, although the heaviest, literally the heaviest bench I can really find online, really the only part that matters for the weight is what the front handle weighs, because that's what you're gonna be lifting and maneuvering. It's got wheels on the back to do everything else. So actually, although this is 140 pounds, which provides a ton of stability during use, this is actually lighter than lighter benches that compete with it. For instance, this one, when you lift on the handle, is 54 pounds. To give an example, the felt weight is what we're calling it, of the Rep Blackwing bench, although it's a lighter bench overall, is actually 64 pounds, so 10 pounds heavier. So I think this is actually a positive for this bench that it weighs so much. I prefer just generally a lighter bench, but if you're somebody that wants stability without adding a ton of extra weight to what you actually lift the front foot with, this kind of meets that. So this is very stable, and there's multiple reasons for that. One of them is just the weight. The other reasons is the back legs are 25 inches about in length, or a little bit less than that. And I think the biggest reason for that stability, and kind of the thing that's most remarkable about this and why the name is Manta Ray, is that front foot. So the front foot, it's this extended flat piece of plate that one adds extra weight to the front, but also adds extra stability because it's wider than, say, just a square post. So when you think of square post benches, you think of say the Rep FB 5000 or the Rogue Monster bench, which has a little bit wider plate, but it's basically a square post. When you increase the surface area, especially on the sides, you're gonna prevent side-to-side wobble. If you've ever used a tripod designed bench, you know that when you sit on kind of the front and you go side to side, it can tip. This one, thanks to the Manta Ray design, as well as the extra weight and the legs in the back, it doesn't really do that a lot, which is kind of funny because I think the name of the game for benches going forward is kind of gonna be this flat plate, because it offers a lot of benefits. One is the stability, but also it doesn't really get in the way as much if it was just a big piece of metal, because you can still tuck your feet either to the side, behind, or even on top of it without much worry. And it's funny because this and the Rep Blackwing, which are two benches that I'm pretty sure have been in development for quite some time, were released at about the same time and featured about the same design on the front foot. One of them is called the Blackwing from Rep. This one is called the Manta, but essentially does the same thing, which is kind of funny because those companies are competing directly with one another and releasing features on benches that people want kind of at the same time. So just something I wanted to point out. Now, keep in mind, one reason that the Blackwing is heavier felt weight when you're lifting it versus the Rogue, although it's an overall lighter bench, is because that zero gap system on the front. Also, they've got the knurled barbell handle on the front. There's just a lot going on that front end that provides nice things like the zero gap that people like, but it does increase the weight when you're lifting it versus this one doesn't have that on the front. Next to the ladder system, this is using a very unique ladder system. I think it's one of the better done ladder systems, maybe the best that's on the market, with a caveat. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the caveat later on. But the reason that I like this so much is it's an internal design. So most ladder systems, what they're doing is they're taking, say, a 3x3 tube, and then they're bolting on ladders to the side. That increases weight, but it also just increases complexity. You gotta bolt things on. It's just, I mean, things that are either welded or just inherent in the design, I think are superior to things that have to be attached on. And so this one, rather than attaching things on, they remove metal from the inside of the tube and then replace it with a UHMW coating for the ladder system. So it's all internal. One, it looks really streamlined. It just looks really cool. Two, it also saves weight, which is 140 pounds, so saving as much weight as possible is nice. And it's funny, after they've saved weight on the ladder system, it still weighs 140 pounds. So I'm glad they decided to do that. They're using a lot of 7-gauge steel in here. It's one reason it's so heavy. But the ladder system moves really smoothly, is locked in when you're using it, and also the UHMW plastic just has a nice sound when you're using it, and also there's not gonna be any like marring and scarring of any of the metal touching metal. Now, this has 10 back positions, 5 seat pad positions, which is the most adjustments out of any Rogue bench that they have. For instance, the adjustable bench 3.0 has the same amount of back positions. It has 10, but only 3 on the seat pad. This one actually has 5, which is very nice. They say on their website that all the angle positions are actually laser cut into both the front and back frame. That's actually not totally true. They are mostly, the front is 5, the back actually has 7 laser cut angles, whereas there's 10 angles you can use. Like it said multiple times on their site, just something I wanted to call out. So if you're looking at it and you're wondering if it is, I don't think it's a reason not to buy it, but just wanted to say it. There is 10 positions on the back, even though there's 7 listed, going all the way from 0 degrees up to 85 degrees, which is kind of the standard military position now. Now, they market this as an FID bench or a decline bench. And it kind of is, kind of isn't. The way that you can do that is by spending another $200 for a foot catch that goes into the top of the bench pad, and then you have to lay opposite of it. Whereas many true FID benches actually go down a negative 15 degrees or so from the standard without having to add a foot catch. For instance, the Rep Blackwing bench. So this can be a decline bench just like Rep's AB3 bench can be, but I just want to say you will have to spend extra for the foot catch. When it comes in, it goes from 0 to 85. But it has a wide range of increments. They say 50 different possible configurations, basically more than anybody would ever need, but allows you to really dial in the position. Also, because of the laser cut numbers, you can find the position that you use every time. Now, on the ladder system, although the feeling and the use of it, the streamlined look of it is very nice, there is more play than some of the competitor benches that are out there that are making ladder systems. For instance, this one, there is gap on either side, which doesn't really matter when you're using it because of the stability. When you're using this and there's pressure on the back pad, which is like every time you're doing bench or you're doing rows or something, it's not moving around because the pressure is on there. But let's say you try to like move around or adjust when, say, you're at the top of a rep because you find you're not centered or something. There is play on either side of the ladder system, so that can shift a little bit side to side. Not a huge deal. This is an expensive bench. It's made to be a premium bench. So the more something costs, the more critical I think we should be of it. So I am being critical of that position. But when I compare it to, say, the Rep Blackwing, which I'm looking at right now over here, that one has less of a gap on either side. So it's a little bit more stable. When in use, like, you're not gonna notice it, but something I wanted to call out. When I say this is like their high-end bench, I mean it is premium. Everything on this is very premium. So the powder coat they're using, it's not like a texture powder coat, it's their MG Black. It's like a nice glossy, it's the same stuff they're using on their racks, which is really well done. The welds are all really well done. The stability on this bench partly comes from a welded frame. So there's a welded, fully arced frame that then bolts to the back legs. When I compare that to, say, the Adjustable Bench 3.0, one of the annoying things about the Adjustable Bench 3.0 is it has a joint right in the middle, which if that thing isn't fully bolted down, even when it is, it does have a little bit of movement. Stray Dog, I feel like, does the best implementation of this with a dovetail joint and then bolts on. This one, they just said, forget that, we're gonna weld it. So that's another reason that this probably costs more, is because the boxes are bigger. This thing came in 3 boxes and actually required a lot of assembly. It took and still takes 8 to 12 weeks from purchase time for you to receive it. Now, part of that, they're making this in the US, and they have high volume, lots of people buy their stuff, so they're making it in-house. But I just wanted to say the benefit from the welded frame is definitely noticed, because this thing is super stiff, unlike any other bench that's out there, but it does come with a cost. Now also, no stickers, everything that you see is laser cut, whether it's the Manta Ray logo on the back, which I think looks pretty cool, or the laser cut numbers, or their logos, just everything is like laser cut goodness. I love that they do that. It makes a bench that's never really going to wear out, and allows things like laser cut markings that you're always gonna want there to never fade. Now, the most notable premium feature, I think, is the padding. I just say this, out of any adjustable bench on the market, my favorite padding by far. Like, they're taking the same grabber vinyl they have on my favorite flat bench, the Rogue Monster Bench 2.0, that uses the Thompson Fat Pad. They're taking that vinyl from the Thompson Fat Pad, which is like just universally loved, and everybody has tried to copy, and for whatever reason, Rogue has not added it to any of their other benches until now. And it's now on the Manta Ray, and it is so good. The padding is firm, but it's still comfortable. The vinyl is so thick and it grabs. I mean, it's just the best vinyl. They went with a little bit wider on the bench pad. It's 12 inches, which I like. Other companies are offering an additional wide pad at like 14 inches. I think it'd be cool if they added that to this. Like, can you imagine an adjustable bench with a Thompson Fat Pad on it somehow? I'd probably just get rid of my other bench if I had that, if that was available. But the decision they made in going with this, I'm very happy with. I could have seen them going with the USA Premium Textured Foam Pad instead, but honestly, that pad's just okay. I'm really glad they went with this one. It is very well done. Honestly, one of the standout features of the bench. Then another thing is the minimal gap pad. This has about an inch between the back pad and the seat pad. That's kind of as thin as you can really make it without adding additional adjustable features like what Rep does on their zero gap bench. I'll just say this comes down to personal preference. I prefer a fixed style. I prefer having it fixed versus having to adjust it. 1 inch is perfectly fine for me. In fact, the back pad is so long, and I'm, I guess, short enough. I mean, I'm 5'9", but I'm sure there's people that are much taller than me, 6'1" or so, that could still fit on this back pad just fine without having to feel the pad gap. So something like the zero gap is nice if you want to just remove that gap completely, but I think it adds additional complexity, it adds additional weight, especially to the worst part of the bench, the front. So that's why the Blackwing is heavier to lift up. And I think it's just kind of annoying to use. I just want a quick, that's why I use a ladder system, because it quickly goes up and down. So for me, I like that this is just 1 inch. I think they did really well deciding to go with that. Then just a couple other things of note. The wheels they're using on this are the premium casters. Sounds stupid, like who even talks about wheels? Well, when you use this bench all the time, you're lifting it up, pulling it down, moving around your garage like I do, the wheels matter. So these are actually really cool wheels. They're the best. I wouldn't buy a bench for this. They're the best adjustable bench wheels that are out there. They come standard, whereas with the Adjustable Bench 3.0, you have to pay extra for it. Then they have the foot catch. So this is the first ladder bench that Rogue has offered that also has a foot catch. The foot catch is redesigned. It's actually a really nice foot catch. It should be for 200 bucks. It has the really nice rollers, same ones they're using on like their Echo GHD or say their Abram 2.0 GHD. Really nice premium rollers. I mean, it's a foot catch. You know, there's not like anything crazy about it that is better from competitors. It's just really well done. But it's pricey. And the only way that you can get decline on this bench is if you buy that as well. Whereas other FID benches, it kind of comes standard because the bench pad can just standard go lower with the ladder. And then it's got a round injection molded handle. I don't like the injection molded handle. I'm pretty sure they knew I'd say this. I know they had to think of this, but why they didn't go with a barbell, a knurled barbell on the front of their most expensive, most premium bench, I don't know. Maybe they'll come out with a premium Manta ray, which that'd be even more money. But I think it would have been nice, a nice addition. I mean, Rogue has so many barbells and ways to make barbells. If instead of the plastic handle they put on this, they would have put a barbell handle on this. I will say they do have a knurled handle on the seat pad. It's a very light knurl, very passive. It's also like powder coated or black oxide or something on it. So not as, obviously in an ideal world, everybody would want a stainless steel handle on the front, but they're probably trying to get this thing at a certain price point, and so they probably just didn't add it. Hopefully, maybe they'll have one in the future, but I just wanted to call it out. Okay, that's kind of what it is, and that's kind of the good things. I want to talk about some of the things I don't like, because there definitely are, and I've already mentioned a few of them, so I won't reiterate those, but a few other things that I think could be improved or just things that I don't love. Number one, this thing is heavy. So I really think the target market for this is a commercial gym or a university gym. Rogue seems like they're making a push to go after the university weight room market. It's a big market, lots of dollars in that market. And those dollars, because it's not an individual spending it, it's a corporation or somebody spending it for a university, and they're using those gyms as marketing for D1 athletes. They'll spend a lot of freaking money for customization, colors, looks, you know, bigger, heavier, stronger, that sort of thing. So I really think this is made for that market, although Rogue is a home gym company. That's who their primary buyer is. So home gym owners are going to get this. Because of that, this is heavy. 140 pounds is a heavy bench. It's also really long. It's like a boat. Okay, so if you don't want a heavy, stable bench, that doesn't really matter to you, don't buy this. Okay, this is for somebody that wants something that just feels like a fixed bench when you're using it, and it really does. But I think my biggest issue with this bench is that everything that's offered on it for the price doesn't match up. Okay, this is $995, plus when you add taxes and shipping, this turns to an over $1,100 bench. An $1,100 with tax and shipping adjustable bench. Let's just compare in-house. If you compare this to the Rogue Adjustable Bench 3.0, that is $600. You have to add on shipping, so let's just say with taxes and shipping, it's like $700 or so. This is not a $400 to $500 difference in value between those two. And that's the thing, you have diminishing returns. As you spend more money, the returns diminish between the two. It's just how it goes. I don't know why, other than the foot catch that's on this, I don't know why I would buy this versus the Adjustable Bench 3.0. Because that one, number one, has colors. Number two, is heavy and very stable. Number three, it doesn't have a foot catch, but I think they could easily add it. Number four, there's the same amount of back positions. This one offers 2 additional seat pad positions, but I don't think that's something that people are really crying about or really care enough to spend $500, $400 on. That one does have nice vinyl, not as nice as this, but I can't assume that the price between those two is that crazy. That one does have the option for stainless steel side rails, which cost more, but like, for me, if I'm looking at Rogue and it's like, I want a USA made bench by Rogue, I'm going with the Adjustable Bench 3.0. I think just generally, it's such a better value, by far. Or I'd look at Stray Dog, more expensive bench, but that dovetail joint they came up with for attaching the frame, I think Rogue should do that on theirs, on the Adjustable Bench 3.0, and they'd be even more stable. So, although I like this bench, it's just hard for me to recommend at over $1,100 when you have so many comparables. And then when you compare out of house, say the Rep Blackwing for $600, free shipping, man, that's the bench to get. It's between, and for me, for most of you, it's between that one and the Adjustable Bench 3.0 from Rogue. Those are like the big premium benches. I don't really see a reason for spending this much. Nice bench, very stable, does some cool stuff, love the integrated rail. I wish Rogue would just kind of take some of that stuff and add to the Adjustable Bench 3.0, make it even lighter and better, and allow a foot catch. But That's just me. Okay, this has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Those are my opinions. What do you think of the Manta Ray? Let me know in the comments. Is it a bench that you're gonna get or have gotten? I've seen some reviews on their site already and people are loving it, which is awesome because you spend a lot of money and it's just incredibly stable. So if you want that stability, like this is the most stable adjustable bench that's out there. So this can definitely hit that market. But would love to hear from you which bench you think of the premium ones is the best out there. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time. Peace.